What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr War Games, and first off, thank you so much for everyone that has supported us up to this point. We are now on to our 6th year. We are 5 years old, entering into our 6th year of Yugi tubing. So thank you to everyone that has supported us. If you have not seen the intro, I will go over to it for you now. We will be giving away, and I'll tell you how you can win the giveaway at the end, a signed mat by Yugi and Kayaba, both Dan Green and Eric Stewart, from MCM Comic Con, so very exclusive to get hold of. I will also provide you with a pack of mini KMC outer sleeves, which are the exact ones that I use on all of my extra deck. Alongside that, there will be a signed Dark Magician card by myself if you want it, and I will personalise it for you as well with anything you want and sign it wherever you want. Along with that, I'll also give you a new fresh pack of sleeves, and you can choose from a range of sleeves that I will show the winner once chosen. Alongside all of that, I thought what better way to mark this occasion than with my favourite deck being Dark Magician, but this time being a spicy one that I first played around with many years ago and actually haven't revisited for a long time, and it's got incredibly better. So with that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe. You will need to be doing all those steps to be entered into the giveaway. But with all of that out of the way, let's get into today's profile for seriously spicy Dark Magician. So, Dark Magician, if you've been a fan of the channel, you know this is my favourite deck, hands down, no debating, absolutely love it. So, as it is a Dark Magician deck, we do play triple Dark Magician. I prefer to go with the original art where at all possible. It is my favourite artwork, as many of you know, but you go with a single Dark Magician. We've then got the one Red Eyes Black Dragon. Now, I really wish we had got like this prismatic rarity for the original Red Eyes, so then you can match up with DDS Dark Magician, just me being greedy. And then of course we've got triple Magician's Rod, your bread and butter card of a Dark Magician deck. Triple Magician's Souls, again, another bread and butter card of the deck. Now in this particular version, you don't have to rely on it. What Souls actually brings to you, more so than not, is yes, it does set up your draw in the end phase for 2 rather than 1, but what you kind of want to go with is Souls is just an extender in this particular build, so you can take it out for any kind of other extender like a shooter or something like that. I will show you a combo at the end of the video as well, just so you can kind of see all of this like concoction in its glory, and a shout out to Joe who helped kind of put this together and work out little cogs in it as well. We've then got the one Apprentice Illusion and the one Palladium Oracle Mana. Now, my stance with these particular cards is always the same. Oracle Mana to me offers more to the deck than Dark Magician Girl, because what I mean by that is Oracle Mana and Dark Magician Girl both have that draw effect. So if you put these in the deck, this is probably what you're going to be sending off for Souls if you have the ability to get into Verte Anaconda, because then your Soul Servant is going to draw you 2 regardless. But with the Dark Magician Girl, unless you're going to be playing combination, Dark Burning Magic and stuff like that, to me it's not really worth it. What I kind of like with the Oracle Mana is it deters my opponent for trying to imperm or target any of my spellcasters, mainly my Magician's Rod or Magician's Souls, to stop their effects going off. And if they do that, I'm just going to go, right, okay, thank you. I might not have got the draw or I might not have got the search, but I've got a free extender that can help me link climb higher or give me instant access into Verte and play. Now, it is a card you could cut, and so is Apprentice, but in this particular build, Apprentice is a lore fodder as well if you want to, but it also recurs your hand advantage, so it gets you a Dark Magician. Now, in previous builds and previous versions, this was really important, but now that we've got the Verte Anaconda play, you really don't need to rely on getting the Dark Magician to the hand, because we're not even playing navigation. So 1-on-1 works perfectly well. They could arguably be cut. The reason I've got mana in here, like I said, is for the draw and the plays. I don't play the Dark Magicians in the extra deck. Spoiler, there is a reason for that. And personally, anyone that says to me, yeah, the reason I'm playing Dark Magician Girl in my deck is for the Dark Magicians only, is, I'm sorry, but that's not the way you should be playing it. You're adding a brick to your deck for a card that won't ever get destroyed if your opponent can read. We've then got double Jester Conflict. If you were to take out Apprentice, you could put in a third Jester. This is actually even more important in this particular build, and it's something that I never used to play in the old version as well. And then, of course, we've got the Obelisk the Tormentor, free extender off of the True Name. The True Name is a tech that I've been putting in this deck since day one and testing with it amazingly. And now with Verti Anaconda, the fact that Obelisk is a free extender and the fact you get to stack your top deck is incredibly important and powerful. Now on to the Spice. Now the first bit of Spice is triple Summon a Monk. Now in the previous version I did on this, Summon a Monk was only ever at 1. So what you would do is you would play Summon a Monk, and I would used to play Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and Fairy Tail Snow. That's how long ago it was. Now we've got Monk at 3. This is your other normal summon. So this is the normal summon that with this plus any extender, so Souls, Jester Conflict, Apprentice, or even Oracle Mana. Again, if they target this, Oracle Mana can summon herself. So you might not get the second effect, but if they turn this off, you bring back your Oracle Mana and then you've got your instant Verte play. But with this, any spell, any extender, ends you on a Verti Anaconda into a Dragoon plus one other very spicy card. And that spicy card is coming off of the back of Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. Yes, it does allow you to get into Darklaw. But not only that, this entire combo allows you to set up a Dragoon Darklaw play during your opponent's turn. So you're ripping on from hand, you're negating a card, and all their stuff is getting banished. But because you send this during your opponent's turn, you also get to search out this bad boy, which is Evil Hero at Dusted Gold. And that then allows you to have follow-up plays because you're going to have a level 5 or higher monster in your graveyard, meaning you can get into Malicious Bane. That's right. So if they were to clear off your Dragoon, if they were to empty your board, you still have this to go off next turn. Absolutely insane. Works really, really well. And what I've kind of worked with on this deck is I was going to do the Dogmatica version. And a lot of people, you voted for the Spice. And this to me is crazy Spice. Because you open up Monk, any spell in your deck, and you run like 15, plus any extender, and you run about 7 of those, gets you into Verte, Dragoon, Darklaw, back up with Bane the next turn. And that's not to mention if you've ended up resolving Souls, it's if you've resolved Circle, and if you've resolved Eternal Soul. Your turn during opponent is you're going to banish everything, you're going to Circle, target, banish, get rid of, you're going to rip one from hand with Darklaw, you're going to negate one with Dragoon, then not surviving the next turn, hands down. Then onto the spells, you've got your triple Dark Magical Circle, your triple Soul Servant, and what might as well be a Dark Magician card is triple the True Name. Now, the reason I've got 3 in this particular build is because it's free spell fodder to be dropped off of your Summoner Monk. But what this can do, and this is even better in Dogmaticas, again, is if you Soul Servant specifically is going to allow you to get a Dark Magician card, but if you Circle, you get to add any card. So you stack the top of your deck with any card. Nadir Servant, Summoner Monk, absolutely anything. You go, right, cool, True Name, cool, Summoner Monk. You go, alright, well, it's clearly right. Summoner Monk comes to hand, True Name goes to graveyard, Obelisk comes to the board. That's your extender done. Then you normal summon your Summoner Monk, use a spell, or ditch a spell card. So job done. This counts as your extender and as spell fodder. What more could you want from a card? We've then got triple Allure of Darkness, so you do play a lot of darks, like multiple Summoner Monks you can get rid of. You can ditch this off of Summoner Monk to get you that summon that you need. You can banish a your Shadow Mist if you open it up. And if you open up Mist, it's not the end of the world because you can still get it to the graveyard at some way. Even if you're discarding it and negating it with Dragoon, you then get to get your Dusty God the next turn. So you've still got that play to set up even if you open it. And if you do open it, keep in mind that your Summoner Monk can get another version of Summoner Monk, and there's even more spice in the extra deck, which I'll show you as well. Then we play actually quite a heavy... I'll get to the fusions in a second, but we do play the 1 Dark Magic Inheritance, and actually in this build, if you go through the Summoner Monk play, you're consistently putting 2 spells in the graveyard. So this is actually really important because this then gets you your Circle or your Eternal Soul, so it might get you a missing piece, and in a sense is the spell version of Magician's Rod. And what I mean by that is if you can't use your normal summon, because you've already used it on Summoner Monk, you use this, banish the spell that you've discarded off the Summoner Monk, even if it's a Soul Servant, absolutely fine, and you banish Red Ice Fusion. You can then activate the Soul Servant, stack your deck with a Magician Soul or whatever after you've made Verti Anaconda into Dragoon. Then you use your Soul Servant, and that's going to get you an additional draw. So then you've got the draw that you've just stacked to your hand. Nice and easy, and it's even more discard fodder for your next turn. Then for the fusion spells, okay, we'll start with the standards. You've got Magical Eyes Fusion and Red Eyes Fusion. Now, Magical Eyes Fusion adapts something in the extra deck, and I'll specifically talk about that when we get there. But Magical Eyes Fusion is basically a backup to get you into a secondary Dragoon, because what you've got to keep in mind is all the materials are going to be in the graveyard. So to make your follow-up play, to make a secondary Dragoon or the Dark Magicians, this is very specific. So if you don't want to play the additional fusion, this becomes a second copy of Inheritance. If you do, you keep Magical Eyes Fusion. The other thing that Magical Eyes Fusion really, really helps with is if you were to open up Red Eyes Fusion, there are ways of not even worrying about this. You can send the Red Eyes Fusion to the graveyard. You then use Magician Souls to send Dark Magician to the graveyard, and then what you need to do is, rather than going into Verti Anaconda, you can go into a link to, you get a dragon to the graveyard first, then go into Verti Anaconda, and then you send Magical Eyes Fusion. Now there are ways of doing that. That's where link monsters come in, and that's where you then need to adapt your playstyle. And the route that you would really work with that is you would need this, so let's say you open up this and Magician Souls. But what you do is you use Magician Souls, send Dark Magician, but you would summon that Dark Magician. You turn Dark Magician into Umduct. You then get a normal summon or an extender on the board, turn Umduct and that normal summon of Rod, summon among anything, into Verti Anaconda. Straight away, you fixed your issue of open up Red Eyes Fusion. Because then what you do is you put a dragon in the graveyard, you put a Dark Magician in the graveyard, you activate Magical Eyes Fusion, or you activate Verti Anaconda to send Magical Eyes Fusion, and you fixed your issue. So that's why I would rather play one-on-one than anything else like that. So it gives you a backup as well. And then of course you've got the hero fusion spells. Sadly, there's not really a lot more you can go into this. Like in the previous version, I was playing Chocolate Magician Girl because Master Change 2 actually gets you an acid, which is really cool as well. But obviously Dark Calling is a bit of a brick, but you search this off of the back of a Dusted Gold, and that sets up your Bane play. And then your Master Change 2, even if you were to open this, keep in mind, all you need to do is discard one card and target a face-up monster you control that has a level. Send it to the graveyard. Also, after that, if it left the field via this effect, special summon from your extra deck one masked hero monster with the same attribute but a higher level. So the only card that you can't use, or one of the cards you can't use to make your Dark Claw, is of course Dark Magician, very, very sadly, because it's got to be a higher level. You can't use your Apprentice either, but what you can do is you can mask change your Rod, your Souls, or your Jester into a Dark Claw. So imagine that, if you open this up, you can still use Summon a Monk combo, absolutely fine, but then you go for the rank 4 play or a Verti Anaconda, and then what you do is you activate your Mask Change, and your Mask Change turns it into, you guessed it, a Dark Claw. So your extender becomes the Dark Claw. It's insane. And on top of that, if you still bring out Shadow Mist, you still Mask Change that turn to get you in a Dusted Gold, meaning that if you're going second, you do the exact same play, but if you've opened up Mask Change, you get in a Dusted Gold, or you just don't use Mist's effect. Send Mist to the graveyard to make your Link 2, then get a Dusted Gold. A Dusted Gold gets you Bane. Now, yes, Bane will only be allowed to attack if you use his effect to nuke the board, but if you don't use the effect to nuke the board, then you haven't got to worry about it. You've got a nice 3k monster alongside your Dragoon that is going to guarantee you game. For the trap cards, you've got Triple Infinite Impermanence. Now, this is any meta hand trap staple. So what I mean by that is, depending on what you're facing against, depending on what your matchups are, depending on what your locals is going on about, if they're playing loads of graveyard effects and you want to play DD Crow, you want to play Skullmeister, you put them in here instead. If there are a lot of road decks that use and abuse cards that send from deck or summon from deck, then you put in Ash Blossoms. This free spaces is whatever adapts more to the decks you're going to face. If you feel that you're going to be going second more times than not, or you feel that your luck is just not with you, then you'd put in stuff like Nibiru's, Droplets, Evenly Matched, anything like that. And then finishing up, we've got the 2 Eternal Souls. There's a couple of cards in the deck that I've shown you that you can take out if you want to make Eternal Soul a free. But the idea is that through Circle, through Soul, through Rod, you want to be getting to that kind of holy trinity and end up with an Eternal Soul. So now moving on to the extra deck. We'll start off with pretty much what is standard, or what I would expect most people to see in a Link lineup for a Dark Magician deck. And we'll start off with the 1 Relinquish Anima. I personally prefer this over Link Karibo. Now, Link Karibo is obviously more defensive, and I understand that. But this has actually worked really, really well for me personally. It is also another spellcaster, which is, again, very important. So keep that in mind. If you wanted to play Quintet, again, more prominent in the Dogmatica version, you actually put an additional spellcaster in the graveyard for a Quintet play. Then you got Umdup the World Chalice Guard Dragon. Now, not only did I explain why this is so good through the saving combo of, if you open up Souls and Red Ice Fusion, you go, right, okay, normally you'd want to just activate Red Ice Fusion and pass. But what you could do in this scenario is you can go Magician Souls, summon out Dark Magician. Dark Magician goes into Umduct, get a normal summon or extender out of the remaining 3 cards in your hand. You then turn those 3 cards or any of those cards into the Link 2. Or any Link 2 Vert Anaconda ideally, and then you're sending Magical Ice Fusion. So open up Red Ice Fusion didn't matter. And then what that allows you to do is it still allows you to normal summon your Rod, it still allows you to extend into a Summoner Monk, it still allows you to continue your plays. And then of course you've got Vert Anaconda, pretty much staple in Dark Magician deck right now. And then of course you've got your IP Masquerena. This is just an alternate route of play, but you've got your IP Masquerena into your Nightmare Phoenix, into your Nightmare Unicorn, and what she can also get you into is of course a Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. Now technically you don't need this card in this version because your boss monsters are of course going to be Dragoon and of course your Evil Hero Malicious Bane, alongside with a very, very nice spicy card, which I'll get to in a minute. So you can alternatively take this out if you want to, if you don't have it. And this can become either another rank 4, it can become a Zeus, it can also become it can become an Anki if you wanted to increase the hero engine, or it can become any other Link monster in the game. You then of course got Selene, because Selene then ends up into Access Code. Again, Access Code is not a necessity, but what you've got to keep in mind in this deck is you actually have so many boss monsters and win cons that no matter what you face, you'll have a way to play around it. So if you face an opponent that can't be destroyed by Bane, can't be dealt with Dragoon, you've got Access Code, non-target disruption. You've got the ways of getting into Selene very, very easily. Again, Summoner Monk discards a spell. You're setting up your graveyard for Selene. Summoner Monk can go into another Summoner Monk if you want to, and if you have another spell, you ditch that and go into, of course, your Shadow Mist. You then use Master Change 2, that is your 3rd spell, setting you up your Selene. Then all you need to do is you can use all 3 of those, go into Selene. Selene can bring back Summoner Monk. You then use Summoner Monk and go straight into Access. Now, obviously, you'd want to make that a little bit more spicier by special summoning out a Dark Magician off the back of the Souls, going into the Umduct. Umduct plus Selene goes into the graveyard to give you an Access Code with additional 3k and 2 pops, but that is just options. Now, for Spicy Engine number 1, of course, we do have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Evil Hero Malicious Bane, and Masked Hero Darklaw. When you look at the current meta decks right now, Eldritch, Virtual World, and of course Drytrons, they need their graveyard. You hit them with a Droll, you hit them with a Darklaw, they are not playing the game. That is why when you can consistently get a 3-card combo or a few card combo to get you a Dragoon and a Darklaw, at base minimum, you're in a very commanding position, and then during your opponent's turn, you're going to be backing yourself up with a Malicious Bane. Now, Spicy Engine number 2, Daigusto Emerald. Why are you playing Daigusto Emerald in 2021, Dale? Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is not a necessity, can be changed out, but what Daigusto Emerald does is, if you were to go second, if you were to be in a grind game, Daigusto Emerald, not only in this particular deck can you go Summoner Monk into Summoner Monk or Shadow Mist, depending on what stage of the game is, if you've already used the combo or not, you make Daigusto Emerald. Daigusto Emerald can bring back Dark Magician, triggering Circle to banish. You can then use Emerald plus Dark Magician and go into a Link 2, and then if you have an Eternal Soul, you bring back Dark Magician. You then use Dark Magician plus that Link 2 and go into Selene. Selene then brings back Dark Magician. You then turn Dark Magician into Unduct, you turn those into Access Code. Can you see how important this all works? You end up bringing Dark Magician back 3 times. It's nuts. And then the other spicy little engine, thanks to Joe, is of course the one Raiders Knight and the one Ark Rebellion. Now, the reason this is so good is, again, double Summoner Monk leads into, or even Summoner Monk plus your Shadow Mist leads into Raiders Knight. Raiders Knight can then lead into Ark Rebellion. Ark Rebellion can become one ginormous boss monster that can't be destroyed, turns off all the effects on the field, and can technically, depending on what's left on the board, be a one-punch dragon himself. It is absolutely bonkers, but absolutely brilliant because it's in a Dark Magician deck. So what more could you want? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for the Dark Magician and Spice profile. Now I know you're like, well, how does this combo work then, Dale? Show us how this amazing, broken, best ever, no, never said that, how this very, very fun, very, very powerful combo works. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you need any spell whatsoever. And like I said, you run 14 different spells, just stack of spells, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you need. Boom. Any one of those. Any one of those. The only one that is specific is Summon a Monk. So, you have Summon a Monk plus any one of those. Summon a Monk plus Jester Conflict. Magician Souls. Or, if you're feeling very, very spicy, Apprentice Illusion. On top of that, it can also be the True Name. And you play 2 Jester Conflicts, 3 Magician Souls, 3 the True Names, 1 Apprentice. You've got 9 extenders in the deck. Easy as that. So, we're going to go with Summon a Monk. We're going to go with, let's go with Dark Magical Circle. And we will go with a Jester Conflict because it's the easiest one there. Now, obviously, True Name would need an additional setup of being Dark Magical Circle to stack your deck, but it happens. Now, the way this combo works, incredibly simple, is normal Summon a Monk. Summon a Monk's effect to discard the spell card. That will then trigger to special summon out your Shadow Mist, shifting Summon a Monk to defense. Now, before you link these two away, keep in mind, you trigger Shadow Mist effect to let you search out, wherever it is, your Mast Change 2. There we go. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to special summon down your Jester Conflict. Now you are going to have your additional 2 cards in your open hand, so it's absolutely fine. If they're souls, you just get even further pluses. That's really how it works. You use your Jester Conflict plus your Summon a Monk, and you go into your Verte Anaconda. You then pay 2,000 life points off the back of your Verte Anaconda. You send your Red Eyes, your Red Eyes Fusion, and your Dark Magician, and you make yourself a beautiful Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. You're then going to set your Mast Change 2. You can set 1 additional card, but you do need to keep 1 card in hand, because what you're going to do is during your opponent's turn, you are going to trigger your Mast Change 2, discarding a card, turning your Shadow Mist into your Masked Hero Darklaw. That will then trigger Shadow Mist's effect, and that will add you an Adusted Gold. Now, if use board does not get cleared or does not look like it's going to be threatened to be cleared, you have no issues using Red Eyes Dark Dragoon to send this to the graveyard as the negate, and then you play the next turn. Now keep in mind, depending on what the other cards are, if they are circles, you're going to get an additional search. If they are a Soul Servant, during the end phase, if you used a Magician's Soul as your extender, you're going to be drawing 2 more cards. So your card hand advantage goes back up to 4 cards in hand, meaning that you can set a Circle and Eternal Soul and have 2 more cards in hand to cover the entire cost for said combo. Now, like I said, it's not the most broken combo in the entire world, but it is something a little bit different. It is something definitely spicy, as the title suggests, and it is something that I think it can do very, very well against the upcoming meta, or the current meta, when they are so reliant on their graveyard. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting us during all of this period. 5 years strong, and we are moving into year number 6. Now, I hear you scream, we've waited this long, how do we win that very exclusive double-signed map by Dan Yugi Green and Eric Kyber Stewart? And how do we win that signed Dark Magician card, those amazing mini KMC outer sleeves that you use on all of your deck, extra deck? And how do we win that additional pack of sleeves? Well, very, very simple, guys. You must subscribe to the channel. You must smash that like button. You must share this with your friends. The more people that enter, the more prizes I can add to the pool. And then once you have done all of that, ladies and gentlemen, just leave a comment. Absolutely anything. It can be whatever you want. It could be Dark Magician is my favourite. Dark Magician is the worst. It can be Blue Eyes is my favourite. I do not mind. Just as long as you put something in the comments below, it will kind of signify that you have done all of the steps, and I will be able to check these as well. And then you could be in with a chance to win that insane little bundle. Now, obviously, we know these outer sleeves are like gold dust right now. Incredibly cool cards, very, very decent quality as well, very thick, and add the additional layer to the protection you might need for either your main deck or your side deck. But for now, as absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If this video gets at least 50 likes, it will unlock the Dogmatica version for every one of you at home as well. But as absolutely always, guys, stay safe. Thank you for supporting us during these 5 awesome years, and let's all move further together. And as always, happy dueling.